One investigation question, one budget question. As you may be aware, Bill Owens, the father of Willie Ryan Owens, gave an interview with Miami Herald over the weekend, and he said, quote, "The government owes my son an investigation. On behalf of the President of the United States, is the President open to an investigation of the raid in Yemen?" And the father of Ryan Owens called that a stupid mission. Is there something that you'd like to communicate to him about that mission that might persuade him otherwise?
Yeah, thank you. That's multi-part, so let me kind of walk through it slowly. First of all, I can't possibly imagine what he's going through in terms of the loss of a son. I can tell him that on behalf of the president, his son died a hero, and the information that he was able to help obtain through that raid, as I've said before, was going to save American lives. It's going to protect our country more. So he made a sacrifice for this country. He was on his 12th deployment. And I know that his wife, when she spoke to the president, knows that he did this because he loved it. He cared about our nation. And the mission was successful in helping prevent a future attack or attacks on this nation. It obtained a lot of information that will help us keep safe. With respect to his request, it is standard operating procedure for the Department of Defense to undergo what they call a 15-6 review. That review, in this case, is three-pronged. Because there was a fatality and the loss of life, there's that. Because there were civilians involved, that's another. And then third is because there was hardware, a helicopter that was damaged. That is a separate. So, in fact, there will be 3 reviews done by the Department of Defense because of the nature of this. But again, I can't stress enough that on behalf of the President, on behalf of this nation, we express our condolences, extend our prayers to him during this time. And
as you said, that is standard procedure. Is there anything the President is particularly curious about with this mission, in that it was brought to him, he authorized it quickly? Does he believe in the main it was carried out well, and there's nothing that he's particularly curious about in the way either the helicopter was damaged, the fatality, the civilian casualties, of anything of the like?
Well, number one, I've walked through the timetable previously in terms of how long this had been planned for, dating well back into the previous administration. And as you know, their recommendation at the time was to wait for a moonless night. That night wasn't going to occur during President Obama's administration. And so when General Mattis got into the Department of Defense, he was briefed up on the status of the thing, made aware of when the next time was go. We went through the process to ensure that we continued to believe that the mission, the way it was going to be conducted, and the results of the mission would be worthy of action. The conclusion continued to be, as it was prior, that we should move forward. As I mentioned before, I think you can't ever say that when there's, most importantly, loss of life and people injured, that it's 100% successful. But I think when you look at what the stated goal of that mission was, it was an information and intelligence gathering mission, and it achieved that its objectives. So, again, I would express our thoughts and our prayers and our condolences to all of the people in Chief Owens, his family and his friends, his shipmates. But it's something that, as a SEAL and as someone who deployed 12 times, he knew that this was part of the job, and he knew what he was doing. And so we're very comfortable with how the mission was executed, and you know, we'll let the Department of Defense go through that review process and then see where that leads us. But I think to get ahead of the 3 separate reviews are being done by the Department of Defense would be probably a little irresponsible at this time.
Sean, on
regulations.
Major gets 2 too.
Just real quick on the budget. As you are aware, to undo the defense sequester,
Yeah.
you have to get 60 votes in the Senate because you have a separate domestic sequester number and defense. Are you confident with these numbers and with this kind of heavy discretionary spending cut proposed, you can get the 60 votes to change the law? Because without that change in law, the proposal is just that. It doesn't become operational.
I think that when it comes to our nation's security, specifically our nation's military, I don't think that it's a partisan issue. I think that senators from across the country, whether you're talking about Florida or what kind, whether you've got an Army installation or a Navy base, you understand the state of repair that many of our planes, ships, and other hardware is in. And I think that there is a bipartisan commitment to give the military and its members the equipment and the tools it needs to succeed and protect this country. So I do feel confident. April?
Sean,